welcome to our very first episode of Yada Yada Boom. My name is Kate Van Heist. I have an amazing co-host
Hi.
who have
Yes,
hi.
hi. This is Robert Derringer. Most of you know me, but some of you don't.
hmm So we just thought this was a great idea. Robert came to me a while ago saying, "Hey, would you be on my podcast?" And I said, "Absolutely. What are we going to talk about?" And he wanted to talk about my life a little, and then it morphed very quickly into, "Why don't we just do a podcast together and just talk some things?" So a lot of yada and a whole lot of yada, and maybe some boom, because I think both you and I, Robert, have had a lot of life that has happened, and we have gained some pretty good life knowledge. I think we're pretty introspective with people and
Yep.
can have a good old time. So say a
Yeah.
little something.
And it's kind of, Kate, for me, it's kind of humbling almost to think that I have had some boom moments for people. But I'll tell people that they follow me, they'll follow my fitness, for instance, or even my health journey. And they'll tell me that I'm inspiring them. And I'm kind of humbled and maybe have the imposter syndrome sometime, but I accept that and want to make more of an impact in this world. And I thought of podcasting and I started one last year, but it kind of fizzled. Somebody put into my ear, you ought to have a co-host, somebody that can keep you accountable. And as soon as that was implanted in my mind, the image of Kate came into my mind. So we talked about it about a week ago and decided we were going to
Yep.
do this.
Why not just jump in both feet? And the whole accountability portion, you know this of me because, of course, I'm a health coach. This is actually what I do for a living, is I help people become more accountable to themselves. So I
But don't
appreciate.
you also, wouldn't I look at you more as a life coach?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Most certainly I am a life coach. I'm a transformational life coach. So I have started that type of a career with the nutrition side of things just because I had gotten my nutrition under control. And we'll talk more about that, as we go on. But it has very quickly morphed into, I think, what I was put on this earth to do, which is just help bring out the best portions of people and have them really start to become aware of what their habits are, how to change those habits, just lead a better life. And we were just talking about humaning at a higher level. I want
Yes.
people to be able to human at a higher level, and any type of platform where I can hopefully breathe some life into more people is definitely a place where I want to be. So,
Yeah. I was talking about being humbled when people tell me that they can sometimes draw inspiration. But when I look at my work career, what gets me up every day, because I have a full-time job, what gets me up every day to help promote my company's products and help our distributors in this case, which is my specialty, it's really a high level of service. I've always focused on a high level of service. Um, my wife Amma would sometimes say to me, "Why are you working Saturday morning or working late tonight?" It's not because I felt like I would be fired if I didn't. I mean, okay, there were times in my life I've had that. I've had that problem with some of the
right?
companies, but for the most part, it's because I made a commitment to get some people something, whether it's a quote or a sample or a follow up something. I made a commitment, and damn it, I'm going to follow through on that commitment. And that's my that's my calling card, I guess, in the industry is that I get things done and I'm accountable to what I say. And if I'm going to be late and can't do something on time, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. And I think that's what the yada yada boom is about. Let's talk. Let's not make this scripted, but let's drop in some things that are really actionable, truth bombs sometimes, but actionable things that we've done in our lives to be better humans.
1000%. And I love that you are accountable to other people. I am also accountable to other people. We call it a wow woman. So a woman of your word,
Hmm.
where if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm showing up. I will be there. You can always count on me. And so, like, as we talk and as we really start to dig in on some deeper topics, we're just going to have some fun with them. But I'm just excited for what these next steps are going to be, and how, yes, I get also that little ripple effect. People are looking to you because you're leading yourself well. And it may not have always been the case. Like, we have both talked numerous occasions about what our past has been and what our life experience has been. But I think that from both standpoints of our lives, that we are able to help others that might just have the same type of thing going on, and maybe lead them to some better.
Yeah, when we were chatting and prepping a little bit and kind of reviewing what types of topics might be interesting to others, and we hope people tell us
Yes,
what
please.
topics would be interesting. Um, the word transformation came up a lot.
Not.
And it's pretty well known that I'm a fitness fanatic, but really what we didn't talk about, Kate, was what's transformational in my life, I think, is my mindset, my way of
Yes.
viewing things. So since a kid, really 13, 12, 13, 14 years old, biking was my first love. Then running, weightlifting, partly because I was self-conscious of being so damn thin. Nasty people, and they don't realize they're being nasty, call me skinny.
Exactly.
But um, but then biking was put aside for running, which I hated at first, but really loved and really missed. But my body says stop doing it. So I bought a road bike 6.5 years ago. But I don't consider that really the transformational part of me. I was really dug into my way of thinking, my way.
Yes.
I was super damn proud of the fact that I knew every damn thing by the time I was 17 or 18. And I would dig into yeah, I was dug in hard. And I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who are still dug in hard,
Oh, yes.
even at an older age. And it would take me till I was nearly 50 and 2 divorces from the same woman to get out of that. So transformationally, we were talking earlier about how we intersect on health and fitness. But for me, the transformation, and there'll be some people that work with me today and say, I don't see much difference, but I was a real tiger by the tail. I was an ass, a jerk. I was not somebody, I wanted to wow my customers and distributors, but I didn't care who I
Yeah.
stepped on.
Yep. I think mindset is I think that is the biggest transformation that anybody could go through and really starts to understand. We're going to talk about this on numerous occasions, I think, through this wonderful new podcast that we're doing. Everything stems from that brain. And like you just recognized, I knew everything by I was a certain age. Did you? Or was that your ego saying, okay, I am right, versus saying I am open-minded, I am willing to learn, these new things, because just because this is how it is from my perspective doesn't mean that it's from others.
I had something of a running joke. If I did learn something new, I'd say to uh, whoever was around, often my ex-wife now, I'd say something like this. Well, I learned something today. And I realized that I didn't know, I certainly didn't know everything, because now that I learned this, I know everything. So I now have the final piece of the puzzle has been in place,
I am
and
now a
is
complete
now in
puzzle.
place, and I know everything. But, little things that I think people find kind of a boom moment. I didn't have my first coffee until I was 48 years old. I was damn proud of the fact that I never had coffee.
Robert
Yeah.
Deirdre, I'm drinking from my always be yourself, unless you can be a unicorn, then
Yeah.
always
Well,
be a unicorn.
I was
Oh,
proud. I was like, I'm never drinking coffee. I was proud of that fact.
yeah, I'm
Um,
not proud for that.
I didn't have wine until I was in my 40s. I don't drink wine.
Wow.
That's, I don't know. Maybe I thought it was a sissy drink. I don't drink wine. I don't this. I don't that. That was a lot of me. And
Very
it,
black and white.
yeah, very black and white, kind of like I don't want to admit I'm wrong.
Ah,
This is something I've stated, so I can't go back on that because that would be admitting I'm wrong. And I no longer look at life that way. Fail forward, fail fast,
yes.
fail upwards,
Learn.
but fail often.
Absolutely. Something that I have done a lot in my lifetime is fail at something, but my mind, I most certainly think differently than the average person. I'm a glass is half full kind of a girl. I'm always looking for new experiences and to learn something. Um, I have no problem admitting when I am mistaken rather than
Yeah,
wrong. I was just mistaken. I'm learning something new, and to be able to hear things and understand things from different vantage points. The people that I can't wait to learn something new. I can't wait to be in their space and understand where their brain comes from and how they perceive the world to be. And I think it's fun because nobody knows how we know each other, and it doesn't
right.
really matter in the scheme of things, but we met 10, 11, 12 years ago through your life,
Yep.
and very quickly became, she and I became fast friends. Like, I think it took 36 seconds for us to just lock eyes and be like, okay,
But
you are my
that's
type of
that's
people.
Ama, isn't it? That
Yes, it is
happens with a
Ava through
lot
and
of
through.
people.
She's an amazing soul. Like, oh, my heart. And, being friends with you guys for as long as we've been friends, you have graciously accepted me, of course, into your home. We've done dinners. We have really dug deep
Been in the
on
hot tub
some.
together.
We have been in the hot tub together.
Too
We
hot
have
in a
been to
hot tub.
wineries together.
Yep.
We have been to all of. So funny that you said that you didn't have wine until a certain age, because I was like, we have
I'm
been
making
to
up
more
for it. That's the
wineries.
thing. I'm working hard to catch up.
Well, you live in California, so if you're in the most beautiful place to have the wine. Please take
Yep.
me there again. Last time I was there was freaking fantastic.
Yep.
Um, but we come from such different backgrounds and such different methodologies and thought processes that I think we get along famously and can have a conversation about anything at any time.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
And I think that's going to be the fun of this. And hopefully people will find that a bit infectious as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny though, you're Midwest and
Yes.
we have stereotypes about all parts of the country. And I've been fortunate to live in the East, raised in Pennsylvania, but really New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia metro area. Raised there, lived in Connecticut, lived in central New Jersey, then lived for 3 years in Illinois, where you live. And now I'm in my 9th year in California. First time I came to California, I loved it. I was 26 or so. Um, and I absolutely loved it. Could never imagine me living here and being able to afford to live here. But thankfully, my career's taken me here.
Yes.
But I have that embedded in me. I have that stereotypical East Coast personality. And you don't have the stereotypical Midwest personality.
I'm not
I think
stereotypical
that's
at
part of
all.
the reason we get along, because you have
Yes.
more of that type A, driven, blunt, out there, high energy.
Yeah, I definitely am that.
Yeah. I
You
call
hit
her,
that
for
one.
those who don't know, I say, if you want to get yourself out of a jam, call in the superhero extricate, because she'll extricate you out of any bad habits you might have.
We'll talk you out of whatever's going on. You're like, okay, let's talk about this a little bit. I love that. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. Oh,
But we're
okay,
going to post,
so
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, like this back and forth of what yada yada boom is. We've talked about what we want this to look like. We're like, you know what? We're not gonna script this. We're just gonna go off the cuff. There's gonna be a lot of, just smacking our jaws, but having some boom moments and to kind of understand where we're coming from. I don't know what you were just gonna say. Want to see what you have to say?
I'm definitely interested in hearing what other people want to hear.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of where
Us
I
just
was, but
talking at each other, we're cute, but
I was
we
already
want to know.
racing past that thought to any number of other thoughts. Um,
Yeah.
and for me, being accountable was one we talked about in prepping for this. And I just really like the fact that there's somebody that's going to keep me on task to regularly create a podcast, because the first one I started to do fizzled out after I think 8 episodes, and I kind of just lost interest. And a friend who's in the business of, she's somebody who helps people podcast, so she helps produce them. And trust me,
Oh,
the
wow.
production of these things can be tedious and take a lot of time. She said that podcast burnout typically occurs at podcast episode 7 or 8. And sure enough, I think at 7, I kind of was faltering. 8 took me a while to get out, and then I haven't done one since.
Yeah.
So I don't want that to
Well, I'm glad
happen.
that you invited me into this little podcast world, because I think, like we had said, there's a lot for us to say. And when we're going back and forth and using our life experiences, you have people that follow you and have called you an inspiration in your life by how you lead yourself. I have had the same exact thing, because of
What
course we've come from somewhere.
you've lost near, I would say, close to half your body weight at one point, right?
Oh, yes. So pretty darn close. I lost over 100 pounds in 2016 in 8 months' time, following the best of health programs that I do coach for now, and have learned how to keep all of that off and really transform my life more than just a number on the scale, but in my overall health.
Right.
And I don't think that it's that extraordinary, because, of course, I just live in my own self. So it's just
Right.
what I do. But now that I have helped, the hundreds of people that I have helped, and I try to even find statistics on people who have taken weight off just using nutrition, and how statistically, how often are people actually able to do that? There aren't even stats, because it's so small.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm an anomaly. I don't know. I just think that I'm me. And the accountability portion of coming on here and doing this podcast, it's the same type of accountability with, there are people that look to me for inspiration on their health journey. So how could I not take care of myself at a high level? And switching around the mindfulness and how I think about things, it's all part of we're going to talk a lot about all of
Right.
this fun stuff, over
Yeah.
time.
And
But
I'm going to be really keen to kind of tie this all into the business network that
yes.
I'm part of in LinkedIn, because I've got a fair amount of people that follow me there and comment and tell me that they like what I'm posting. Sometimes they say, one fellow said, I have to hold my nose with some of what you post. That's okay. I
It's
think
okay.
you posted something on Facebook or Instagram, Kate, that said something you may annoy some people,
Oh, I sure do.
and that's okay.
And that's okay. Mhm. Yep.
But it's now I hit a wall. What was I saying? Did I have a Biden moment or not? I don't know.
We won't bring politics into
Yeah,
any
we're
of
not going
this.
to bring
I think
politics
I
into it
think that's the
because
one thing that we're not going to yada yada about. It's not my
yeah,
thing either.
yeah. I may cut that
But
out because I don't want anybody to think I wear a red hat. But I think most people know I don't wear a red hat. Um, so
you and I have talked to the hot tub about many, many a thing, and when politics gets brought up, we kind of know where we stand.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine.
and
Oh my
I'll certainly
gosh.
go there on. I've got other ways to be impactful or influential than this medium. So for those of you that do hold your nose when you see some of my posts, we're gonna stay off that third rail.
We will stay off
Um,
of that one for sure.
I might though, Kate. I have to dabble into spirituality
Spirituality.
and
Yes.
borderline religion because really what turned me around, the epiphany moment for me as an older person, was the practices of the mindfulness practices of Buddhism.
Yes.
That's what helped me become a calmer, more mindful, more self-aware person. So I'm not
I think
here to
it's
push
wonderful.
any,
Yeah.
om on anybody or
Any
anything
type of
like that.
ideologies that happen or whatever. And I have the same types of things where we can talk about religion, but most of the things that I have become more mindful with have just been through just reading different types of,
Yeah,
authors that really have taken levels of consciousness to a whole different place. And I have always been a positive person. Annoyingly so, I'm told
yeah,
often, but those are just the people that have pee on their Wheaties. It's fine. Um, I really do look at the glass half full. I find the good in every situation. There are some horrible things that happen in this world, absolutely dreadful.
yeah.
And I'm not taking away from any of those types of things, but my gosh, there has to be something good that we can learn from something catastrophically horrible.
Yeah.
Because if there's not, then what's the point of being a human?
And I still will go into default mode where I sometimes would joke and call myself an optimistic pessimist or a pessimistic
Right.
optimist. And yeah, the glass is half full, but somebody peed in it. So, um,
Yeah.
that kind of an attitude.
Right.
Um, so it had, it didn't necessarily serve me well. Um, because like I said, I was really dug into a lot of ways of thinking. Although strangely enough, my career path in business came from being highly curious, adaptable, and learning a lot.
Yeah.
Opening my
Yeah, I think
minds
it's
to
great.
new things, new
Hmm.
ways of learning how to present myself, learning how to
Right.
write and speak better. Certainly, data analysis is a huge part of my ability in work to do things differently in the role that I'm in.
Hmm.
And while I was dug in and hadn't drank coffee, I actually didn't even have a beer until I was 26. Not that I didn't drink when I was a kid, but in high school. But I didn't do the things other
What?
people did, and I took great pride in that. And
Hmm.
music, especially. Oh, it's like I listen to 70s rock, and that's all I listen to. And you're not telling me otherwise. And I was watching Tracy Chapman and Luke Combs. I wasn't watching it on the Grammys, but I was watching a video this morning, and I was like, it nearly moved to tears by the lyrics and her infectious smile on the stage and the simplicity of the acoustics and he seemed very genuine and here I am like headbanging rock and roll guy from the 70s now admitting that he nearly moved to tears just watching that and I couldn't stand the Fast Car song in the 80s when it came out. I was not
Oh.
going to like that. I mean, this is the end of the disco era and the rock and roll was almost dead. So come on, I'm not listening to this.
Well,
Now
I find
I
it
I
awesome
listen to
that you
all
were
kinds of
open and
music.
curious for the data portion, but a little bit more closed off to the human side of everything. Where for me, I have a more difficult time with data. Like for me, like you and
Yeah.
your spreadsheets, I know you and your spreadsheets are besties. I don't care about spreadsheets, but my goodness, I care about humans.
Yeah.
And I have always related to humans. I don't know. I just do. Isn't it kind of weird? Like you recognize, ooh, this calls for a spreadsheet. You did
There it
that.
is.
That's fabulous.
Now, did I ever tell you about the spreadsheet called Figs?
Oh no,
Yeah. So
I don't know,
I
but I want
am
to know.
being more self-aware. I'm aware that women, when when women see other women or others, they're very aware of whether they wore the same outfit or the
Ah,
other person wore the same outfit the last time they saw them. Some are probably more catty than others, but I've noticed that about women being observant and open. Um, So when I started to date after my second divorce from my first and second wife, the same person, um, I was aware of that and didn't want to wear the same outfit twice. So I had a file I called figs because figs are like dates, but I didn't want it to be easily seen as dates.
Oh,
And I had all the
Lord.
women I dated in there in a spreadsheet with the outfit that I wore and also other, characteristics like friend or, potential or not
Amazing.
going to go back for a second date. I had a spreadsheet.
Right.
Amma was number 25 of 26, and she knows this.
And she knows that we've had that conversation, but I did not know figs existed.
Yeah.
That gives me huge insight into your
Yeah.
data collection.
Yes.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
we could dig in on a lot of this. Okay, so the life coaching portion of me, I'm like, oh, look at these things we could talk about in the future.
Yep.
Woo-hoo! Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
It
my
also,
gosh, that's awesome.
but that ability to look at data for me is also why you'll see the things on my desk here reasonably organized. Things have to be in the right
A certain
place.
way. Mhm.
And I I see clutter like people hear nails on a chalkboard. It gives me the same,
Yes,
just thinking about it. Clutter can give me the same effect as if you just took your nails down the chalkboard. It's like I
I do
need
the
things
same.
organized and I
Yes. I
place
prefer
things
things organized
linearly.
for sure. It doesn't mean that I'm the most organized person. I'm more of a creative, but I do like things neat, tidy, in their place where they belong. Um, and I think that's like just a growth journey over time. Like we've talked in the past about how you used to be so stuck in your ways that I only do these things, but I'm finding that if I open up a little bit to the possibilities that it doesn't always have to be that way. And I think that's just some growth moments as a human
Yep.
right then and there. My daughter is very black and white.
Is she?
Everything is only from her perspective. It is only how she's always been this way. And so it's been a process just having her open up to, well, what if we thought about it in a different way? And immediately she shuts down. So I think brain chemistry, interesting how
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
could
there's
go with
so many
that.
things that I could go into. The imposter syndrome I felt as somebody who was lucky to land a job as a regional sales manager at 26 in the electronics industry, where I'm still in. So 35 years in this industry. It's been fantastic to me. But I had absolutely no college credits. I didn't go to college, so felt really insecure about that. And that's what
Right.
drove me to learn more. Was really a sense of insecurity there. I was curious, yes, but I really wanted to learn more. And I would try to work harder, smarter, faster, longer hours than others. And I didn't care how many dead bodies I climbed over to get to the next position in life, the next
Yeah.
national sales manager, the VP of sales, et cetera. And
That just opens up a whole nother thing to talk
oh,
about too, is like college, and do you have to go to be seen in a certain way? And so like for what I do now, I don't have to have a college education to do what I do.
right.
I just have to be me. And I have
But
to, but I want to learn more. I want to learn to listen better. I want to become more knowledgeable in certain areas so I can help people to a higher level. And it really has nothing to do with collecting data. It has, it's just a completely different scope of
yeah,
from where you're at. But also I help people start businesses. So I teach people to become little mini me's, but they're their own little,
right.
person. Everybody needs, I am a lot. We all know that I'm a lot, like you said with the Facebook post. Like,
Extricate.
I'm not every, I am extra Kate. I am extra.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. I have learned over probably the last good 8 years, learning to become that better version of me, that I accept me for who I am. I'm always trying to better myself. So there's lots that I can learn. There's a lot of unconscious conscious behaviors that I have that are maybe jarring to some people or a little extra.
Well, that for me is a real boom moment there too, though, Kate, because I always felt everybody had to adapt to me.
Mhm.
It's just a joke. It's just a joke. I'm just making a joke. My poor sister was the brunt of so many fat jokes. So I mean, I had, I turned guess it's Star Kissed or something. Charlie the tuna. I turned
Oh yeah.
Chicken of the Sea. Yeah, Chicken of the Sea, not Star Kissed. I turned that into a jingle to mock her weight. I would sing that. And I
Oh
don't remember my parents
wow.
stopping me. They probably tried, but it wasn't
Probably did.
full throated. Let me say that. But I would make untoward jokes, and everybody should just adapt to me. And now people might say I'm PC or woke, but I'm mindful of how my words land. It's not what I intended. It's how they've been interpreted. Now, okay, some people are going to be overly sensitive and
Of course they
you
will.
can't
Yes.
control all that. But I think it's good that we should be our authentic selves, but at times our authentic selves, maybe we need to take a step back and say, I'm comfortable being me, but maybe I should be less me because that's not really a nice part of
I've
me.
tried that. Believe it or not, I've tried being less me. I've been given some pointers, from people that maybe I shouldn't have had speak life into me, who were just like, maybe you should just calm down. Maybe you should just become meek, quiet, Kate,
Yeah.
and learn how to. I'm not being authentic to who I am.
Yeah.
I am loud. I'm boisterous. I crack jokes. I'm just who I am. And so being able to identify the areas for growth, but still be authentic to who I am and who I was born to be. I was put on this earth for a reason,
Yeah.
the way that I am. Doesn't
So
mean that I'm not bettering myself or becoming that better version, because every day I'm in pursuit of that. But my goodness, can you imagine? Can you imagine me being quiet
no,
and not walking into a room and just being like, "What's
that's why I say, I can imagine me being more the yada and you the boom, but I'm also in the right moment when I allow myself to be me. I'm definitely a lot more animated
Yes,
and certainly opinionated and full of energy.
yes.
I don't necessarily use my hands as much, but
I'm a little bit. I was born in an all Italian neighborhood, and I'm
yeah,
not trying to stereotype anybody, but I was the non-Italian in the Italian neighborhood. This is going to happen a lot. I do sit on my. I
yeah.
try to
But
keep them down.
my ego, my need to belong or feel important was partly driven by just getting attention by bad jokes. I could find, I could turn anybody into a caricature and make a joke about whatever it was. Weight was an easy one. Maybe, their nose was a little long or they said something a certain way. I would just accentuate that like somebody drawing a caricature. And I would, that part of me
Realize
is,
that sometimes
is
that's a
not a
little
good part
bit.
of me. And I
Yeah.
really I don't try to hold that back or tamp it down anymore. It's just not part of me now, and
Yeah.
the weird day, the one epiphany where I knew I was really starting to embrace this way of looking at the world more holistically and looking at every being, animals, people, as everybody having some worth, right?
Yeah.
Was part of what Buddhism talks about. And I was in my apartment, recently divorced, and I was cleaning the tub, and there was this little wispy spider trying to climb out. And I noticed that it would get a certain part and slide back off.
Mhm.
And I just turned the water off and kind of watched it. And it kept going to the top, but it was damp up there and it would slide back down. And I said to myself, that little spider's just trying to survive, just like the rest of us. As corny as this sounds, I got a little piece of toilet paper and let it climb up
Let
that.
it
And
climb
I
up.
ran it to the window and put it outside because I just wanted it to have a fighting chance. Now it was February, so it was cold as hell out there. It was probably like, just
My
drown
goodness.
me, dude. But I didn't do it because I said a good Buddhist would do this. I just looked at that and I could literally not look into its eyes, but I could just look at it struggling to try to get out of that tub. And I saw it with a sense of compassion. And
And you
so
do
you
it
were
at a high
talking earlier
level.
about something that
Mhm.
goes sort of towards professionalism and, not being too
Right.
extra. And part of the reason I chose to wear this shirt is I want to be me. I like to,
I love your shirt.
yeah, I like to be just a little different. I don't want to be the same as everybody. One of the podcast episodes that I really enjoyed doing was called Wear the Damn Earring. Because in my
Uh-huh.
industry, Kate, I've had an earring since I was 27, but I wouldn't wear it in business. Now I've been wearing it for over a year and I still get some weird looks and comments like, oh, do you forget your dress today? Whatever.
Whatever, guy.
When I
Hmm.
grew up, it was a different time. I have two tattoos now. Um, I looked down on people who had tattoos, but we get so hung up on professionalism and fitting into a certain box and looking a certain way. And of course, there's some exceptions on the very fringe that, people get their tongue split and have lizard ears. And, you're asking to kind of be
Things.
too much an outlier. But some of the woman I interviewed, Dr. Sheva Guy, she's got a big bat tattoo, gauge earrings. She's a doctor. I mean, she's really bright. She's really good at what she does. And I kind of want my LinkedIn business community when they're seeing this on LinkedIn to say, um, maybe I should lighten up a little bit too. Maybe I shouldn't be so hung up over
Yeah.
somebody's wearing a pair of jeans in this meeting, and that's disrespectful.
It is not
We're trying to
disrespectful at
bring
all.
younger
Yeah.
people into our industry, and we're so hung up on everybody, in their their khakis with their blue blazer and their white or blue shirt. I'm talking about the older men in my
Yeah.
industry, which there's a lot of us, and it's just kind of stodgy and uptight. And
Yeah.
if we're ever going to succeed, we got to bring in the younger generation and learn how to TikTok.
Parents, most certainly something that was instilled in me from a very young age is it really does matter how you present yourself. Going out of the house in your pajamas and not running a comb through your hair and brushing your teeth is a sign of respect for yourself rather than for other people. So I think that was probably something that was instilled in me. I love fashion. I absolutely adore fashion. I love to dress myself. Yeah, losing the 100 pounds really helped greatly in that
Accentuated
respect.
that,
Like
yeah.
still, and it did because clothes fit you a lot nicer when your body is in a better
Yeah, you're
place.
not using clothes to try to hide features of your
No,
body.
because I did that as well, which I still loved fashion then. It's just nothing really fit. So now the 100 pounds down, yes, it makes a big difference. But it doesn't, I work from home. Yes, I see people maybe on a computer screen, but even like when we had the pandemic and everybody was at home and they're just like, oh, I wear my pajamas every day and, or I just dress professional from the waist up and I'm wearing pajama bottoms on. I cannot function like that.
Yeah.
I get dressed every day. I have my makeup done, my hair is done, my earrings are in, and it has absolutely nothing else to do with what other people think, but how
Yeah.
I feel about myself.
And
Because I
there are
show up as a
days I do
better
the same.
me.
There's days I feel like I just don't feel the same wearing the shorts and the
Right.
slip on slippers and the
You
and
don't
the
feel the same.
t-shirt. And I want to
Yep.
wear some of these nicer button downs that I have, but at the same time I just try to be mindful and not judgmental of others that don't show up the same way. And I've had this
Yep.
debate with somebody in industry. We talked about going to church. Well, if you don't go to church wearing your Sunday best, that's disrespectful. And I don't go to church because I don't practice Christianity, but to me, it's like maybe they can't afford to. Maybe they don't have nice
Yeah.
clothes. Aren't you happier that somebody's there, worshiping in the salvation of your Lord? Can't you see that first rather than how disrespectful of it is it of them?
Right.
So,
So like in
I
the
know.
business industry to see that, and it was
Yeah.
something I was just having a conversation with a friend where their father had gone into a jewelry store to buy their mom a fine piece of jewelry. He had $10,000 in his pocket and was going to buy her a tennis bracelet that
Yeah.
he had his eyes on, and he wasn't given the time of day
Yeah.
because he was in his flannel and his pants. And I think honestly, like, because I was in the jewelry industry for a long time,
Okay.
so when anybody would walk in the place that I live, Midwest, the people that didn't look like they had money always had the most because it wasn't about pretense. And
Right.
then the ones that would come in, they could spend $200, where the guy that's maybe in the flannel has 20 grand to
Yeah.
spend because he doesn't care about those outward appearances. So my goodness, we could talk back
Yeah.
and forth about it. Well, we have a lot more to talk about as we move forward. I know that there's a lot of topics that you and I have discussed to talk about, and then of course inviting others to give us some things. You did also mention
Yep.
inviting some of our friends on and those that really have some life.
Yeah.
We'll
I'm
have
hoping we
those
could do
guys on.
hoping we can do some lives too, LinkedIn lives, Facebook,
Yeah.
and have people enjoy it in the moment alongside us.
Yes. So I can't wait to talk some health, some life, some business,
So
and yada yada boom.
we'll post in the comments how to find this, where to find this. We have to get it posted up to the socials
Yes.
and make it available for you all, but we'll do that. And in the meantime, I'll sign off and say incrementally better, one thought at a time, one word at a time, one action at a time, one day at a time.
Love it.